Welcome back, engineers! In the previous video, I showed how to split a belt carrying 5 items per minute into 2 belts, one with 3 and the other with 2, using nothing but vanilla splitters, brain power, and a touch of stubbornness. Today, we're taking that concept to the next level. We're going to build a splitter tower that divides a belt of 60 compacted coal per minute into 57.14286 going to power generators and 2.857144 to a buffer or overflow. Why? Because compacted coal burns at exactly 7.142857 units per minute. So a belt of 57.142856 can feed exactly 8 coal generators. This gives us more than double the fuel efficiency of regular coal, and if you're like me, power is always in short supply. But here's the catch. Getting an exact split like 57.142856 to 2.857144 out of a 60 per minute belt requires a careful splitter plan. This isn't just throw down a few splitters and hope. We're talking recursive fraction wrangling, layer divisions, and error correction down to 1 error per 1,000 minutes. No joke. So how do I do it? I use a methodical system I came up with myself based on ratios. I label each splitter layer with 3 values: in for what's coming into the splitter, L for how much we want to go left, and R for how much we want to go right. Each layer halves or thirds the belt, so I scale all values by 2 or 3 when needed to make clean divisions. For example, if I want to split 60 units into 57.14286 and 2.857144, I'll write those as integers with the decimal precision dropped, because for Satisfactory's tick-based logic, that's all we need. If a splitter sends 2/3 to one side and 1/3 to the other, I draw it with 2 arrows pointing in the heavier direction. At each layer, I subtract what's being fed to one side and keep passing the rest down to the next layer, and simplifying the fractions as we go. Actually, you know what? We don't simplify the fractions as we go. We don't actually simplify the fractions. For error correction, I use 2 checks. I work the tree left to right, subtracting what's already supplied from each L or R to each layer. I confirm that every step L plus R equals in. If it doesn't, I know I've made a mistake. This layered approach, with recursive bookkeeping, clean integer math, and error checks, lets me design ratio-perfect splitter towers even with weird numbers like 7.142857. Today, we'll walk through this process step by step using compacted coal, and I'll show you how to build a power setup that gets the absolute most out of every node of sulfur and coal. Let's get started. So the completed splitter tower will look something like this, but we will try to get more precision. We're going to need 11 layers, and this is only 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The splitter tower we're making today will be 11. As you can see, when it's going to the left, these belts are going to the left here, and when it's going to the right, it's going to these mergers. And there should be a lift feeding down here. There's because the outputs that it gets split into gets fed down or up depending on your design. Some designs might have multiple towers. You could imagine this whole tower here multiplied multiple times, and in that case the mergers here, they might feed up and then across to the mergers of that other tower, and then that one would feed down eventually to whatever a convenient location would be. So this is what it'll look like, except with a lift here. So let's begin the math. I'm going to use my trusty tablet here to draw everything out. It's kind of an old tablet, so you'll notice a couple of errors, because if my cursor is somewhere and I put a bit of pressure, sometimes you might see it blink into the center of the screen. It's just because of my tablet. It's still doing quite well. My highlighting seems to not work for my tablet. Let me try to open this highlighting thing once again. Yeah, it just seems like it doesn't work for my tablet. Sorry about that. I tried to make a highlighter. At least there's a little pencil being drawn. Okay, so the numbers. Let's start doing the math here. We have to do this math. What will our game plan be for this splitter tower? We know we have an input. We're gonna fill out a belt of 60, so 60 will be the input, and then on the left, what's that number? 2857144 5714285 Move this a bit over here. So actually these are decimal values, so this is actually over 10 million, isn't it? So these will actually just be the numerators. I can't deal with those decimals, so I'm going to be thinking about these as over 10 million. So we'd have to go times 10. If the decimal is here, we have to go times 10, times 100, times 1,000, times 10,000, times 100,000, times 1 million. Okay, actually that's just 1 million. 1 million. So we can think of this as 60 million over 1 million. That works just as well. And then this will be over 1 million. So I'm just going to write M for million. Quick heads up, while doing math in Paint, I made a small mistake that I'll point out when I get to that part. I accidentally left out one of the splitter layers because I forgot to draw a box around it. So I thought we had an 11-layer tower when the math actually calls for 12 layers to get the accuracy we want. You'll see me carry that mistake through the diagram and into the early part of the build, but don't worry, I'll catch it later and correct it at the end of the in-game demonstration. Now we have our in value. This is what we have, and this is what we want to go to the right of the splitter, and this is what we want to go to the left of the splitter. So to determine which direction we will split, we will always split to the side with the larger value. So in our previous example, it was going left, right, left, right. This is an example where it doesn't go left, right, left, right. So we always split to the larger side, and if the larger side is over double the smaller side, then we split 2/3. If it's not greater than double the smaller side, then we would just split half. Those are our two options. We only split by half or by thirds. So to split 2/3 out of 60, we would be left with 20 million over million. We don't have to change the denominator this time because we have some easy division. So 40 million went to supply the right side. We wanted 57 million over a million, and now we have 40 of that, so it gets smaller. So 57 will be reduced by 40, the 2/3 from this 60. So it's gonna be 17,142,856 over 1 million. Then the left side will just stay exactly the same, 2,857,144 over 1 million. Next, same step as before. Which side should we split to? The larger. This one has 17 million. We'll split to the right, and it has over double. So 4 times 2 would be 8 million, and it's greater than that. So 2/3 to the right. This is not easy to split by 3. So let's multiply the numerators and the denominators by 3 so that this can be split into thirds. So 20 million over 1 million is the same value as 60 million over 3 million because we multiplied both the numerator and the denominator. Then we want this to split 2/3 to the right, and the remaining third will go up. So the remaining third will be 2 million on the input over 3 million. So we have to change the numerators and the denominators of all values in order to do this subtraction. This is what we want on the right, and we're going to supply 40 million over 3, so this will get reduced. We will want less. So this one will not be supplied any, but let's multiply the numerator and denominator for future layers, and so we can check that the left and the right add up to the input, because what we want should not be greater than... Okay, so this one just needs to be multiplied by 3 on the numerator and denominator side. So to multiply this one by 3, I'll start by simply having the denominator 3, we know that, and I'll multiply digit by digit. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1 is 13, 3 times 1 is 3, carry the 1 is 4, 7 times 3 is 21, 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 2 is 17, 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 1 is 25, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Okay, so that's what this is. We can actually subtract 20 million. 20 million subtracted by this value is the value here. So we could actually do an error correction step here, and that's what I will do, because although my math is kind of solid, in my opinion... Okay, here we go.
He doesn't do math asterisk on asterisk stream. He asterisk becomes asterisk math.
I become math. ChatGPT helped write some comments for me, so that's what we'll be hearing throughout. So I'm going to be making a lot of errors, so we need to do some error correction. Any human will make some errors, so we can go 20 million over 3 minus this to get this right value and do the calculation this way. So we'll calculate this math 2 different ways to make well sure that we're doing the correct math. We need a cascading carry the 1 so that these are all zeros. You could either try to understand this where we need these cascading carry the 1s, 0 carry the 1, 0 carry the 1, 0 carry the 1, so that we get a bunch of zeros here because we have a bunch of zeros in this value. Or you could simply think on a digit by digit basis. This digit plus this digit, the 1s, needs to add up to 10, so this one will be 8. Then all of these other digits need to add up to 9 because this adds up to 10, so it's carry the 1, 9, carry the 1, 9, carry the 1, so that those are all zeros. So to get this to add to 9, we can add 6. 4 to add up to 9 is 5. 1 to add up to 9 is 8. 7 to add up to 9 is 2. 5 to add up to 9 is 4. And then this, now we're on the million. So now we need to think, so we got this to add up to 1 more million here. Then, so this is kind of like 9 million. So this should be 11 million. It'll be 11 million plus this 8 is 9 million. And then all of these lower digits will add up to an additional million there. So I'm going to do this a lot faster in the future steps. I hope you understood that because I will pick up pace. So we have computed this, but now let's compute it the other way for some redundancy. If we find an error, we'll try to see which one of our calculation methods went wrong. So first we have to multiply the numerator and denominator by 3, then subtract 40 million, which is 2/3 of this one. It'll be 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 1 is 25. 2 times 3 is 6, carry the 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 1 times 3 is 3. Carry the 2 is 5. All of this minus 40 million. We got the same number here, 11 million, but these values don't seem to be the same. Why is that? So I have one more 100,000. The rest looked all good. So like I said, there's gonna be a lot of errors. Did I miscarry the 1? Yeah, 3 times 4. I should have carried the 1 right here. This is a 4. So my subtraction was correct, but my multiplication by 3 was wrong. We have taken a bit of paused and decided which one is accurate. I'm sure we're gonna find more errors just like that one. But hopefully this redundancy will mean that overall...
You can feel the coal generators getting excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to figure this out, and then we'll be making it in the game. So we have 8 million on the left that we want and 11 million that we want on the right. So the right is larger, we'll split to the right, but it's not larger than double the lower value, so only half. So far, what we've done is we've split 2/3 to the right 2 times in a row, then 1/2 to the right, and let's see what that ends up as. The input, we know, so we don't have to change the denominators and numerators because 20 divides by 2 quite easily. It'll go to 10 million over 3 million. The right side will be 10 million less, so we simply write 1,428,568 over 3 million still. And the left remains exactly the same, but I'll copy it up so that it's on the same level as these other numbers. Okay, so that was an easy layer. So now let's see what we have now. 8 million on the left, 1 million on the right. So left is larger, we'll split to the left, and we'll split 2/3 because it's over double what we have over here. 8 million is greater than double 1 million. So we have to split 2/3. 10 is not easily divisible by 3. So let's multiply all numerators and denominators by 3. The input will go from 10 million over 3 million to 30 million over 9 million. We'll split 2/3 to the left, and the remaining third will go to the next input, and that will be 10 million over 9 million. So the right, we just have to multiply the numerator and denominator by 3, but the value will remain the same. So let's start there. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 2 is 20. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 2 is 17. 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 1 is 25. 2 times 3 is 6. Carry the 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 1 is 3, carry the 1 is 4. Then we can do this subtraction, 10 million minus this 4 million number to get to the left side for our recursive value. So first of all, the 1's digit needs to add up to 10. 4 to add up to 10 is 6, so 6 is the 1's digit of the left. The remaining digits need to add up to 9, so to get 0 to add up to 9 is 9, 7 to add up to 9 is 2, 5 to add up to 9 is 4, 8 to add up to 9 is 1, 2 to add up to 9 is 7. And then we're in the millions now. So since it's actually 10 million minus 4 million, and we have all of these lower digits to add up to an additional million, this is like 5 million. So this will be 5 million. 5 million plus 4 million, and all of these lower values that we got to add up to an additional million, that adds up to 10 million. So this input is the same as the left and the right added together. We have an input that is equal to what we want on the left and want on the right. So now that
Not
we
even a
have...
calculator believes in these fractions.
Not even a calculator believes in these fractions. Oh yeah, I guess calculators like their decimals. The really cool thing about fractions is that we can really delay. We're kind of batching up a lot of computations. We're multiplying and multiplying and multiplying, and that batches up a lot of divisions. We're really avoiding divisions, and those calculators are all about divisions and decimals and stuff. So we actually have some options about which fractions and which directions we want to go with these fractions for choosing what denominators works for us and stuff like that. Okay, so now let's get this number over 3 million to equal over 9 million, and we'll reduce the supply of 20 million over 9. So it's going to be subtracting 20 million, and this will all be over 9. So then we have to multiply this value to see what we have to be subtracting by 20 million. Okay, so now we'll be subtracting by 20 million. 3 times 2 is 6. So we're multiplying by 3 to get this 3 million denominator to 9 million. So 3 times 2, or 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3, carry the 1 is 4. 7 times 3 is 21. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 2 is 17. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 1 is 25. So we have 25 million, and these other numbers minus 20 million. So 25 million over this 9 million right here, this is the same value as this value here. Minus 20 million, let's see if we have the same value here. So we computed this number 2 different ways. 25 million minus 20 million this way, and we did the subtraction, and now I'm just seeing, are these numbers correct? It looks like we've come up with the same value. Excellent, no errors on this layer. Okay, so we have 5 million on the left and 4 million on the right. So left is greater. Let's split to the left, the greater side, and we'll split only half because 5 is not greater than double the right. So the next input will be half of this input, 5 million over 9 million instead of 10 million over 9 million. And we simply will subtract 5 million. We don't need to change any denominators this step, and it'll just be this remaining 714,296, and this one will be over 9 million. The right will be the exact same number. I'm just going to bring this one up to the same level. Now the right side is greater, so we'll split to the right. We'll split 2/3 because 4 million is greater than this number less than 1 million. So to divide this by 3, we're going to have to multiply all numerators and denominators by 3. So 5 over 9 is the same as 15 over 27. And we'll split 2/3 to the right.
60 in, 57.142 out. The remaining 2.857 is pure vibes.
Yep, that's how many Satisfactory players will play, just pure vibes. Alright, so to get this number over 27 million, we'll multiply the digits by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 0 times 3 is 0, carry the 1. 7 times 3 is 21. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 2 is 17. 9 times 3 is 27, carry the 1 is 28. 2 times 3 is 6, carry the 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. We have 12 million, and it will be minus 2/3 of this one. 2/3 of 15 is 10 million. So this answer here will be 2 million and some. But let's calculate it the other way for some redundancy to make sure we've got it right. So this number needs to be multiplied by 3 to get it to be under 27. 9 times 3 is 27. 6 times 3 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 1 is 28. 2 times 3 is 6. Carry the 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. Carry the 1 is 4. 7 times 3 is 21. So this side will be 2 million and some. So the left is 2 million to get the right. We know 27 million for the denominator. The first digit has to add up to 10. 8 to get to add up to 10 is 2. Then 8 to add up to 9 is 1. 8 to 9 is 1. 2 to add up to 9 is 7. 4 to add up to 9 is 5. 1 to add up to 9 is 8. And now we're on the millions. So this 2 million is kind of like 3 million because it's plus these other values. 5 million minus 3 million is 2 million. So let's see if this all adds up the same. We have another error. I see this 1's digit, 10's digit, 100's digit, 1000's digit is all good, but this 10,000's digit, what happened here? 9 times 3 is 27, carry the 1. It looks like it would be 8. Maybe we did this side wrong. It looks good on the right side. What about this one? It was 1 times 3 is 3, carry the 1. This side must be correct as well. What, now I'm feeling a bit confused here. 9, 18, 27, 28. Is this actually 20? 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 2? No. How did this one come out as 5? I would like this digit here to be a 1. Okay, I'm feeling a bit stumped here. Uh-oh. Did it not? Maybe I made a mistake on an earlier layer? Is this supposed to be 8? I simply copied this wrong. This is 8 here. I copied it wrong. 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 1 is 5. Okay, found the error. So we might have to track back even further. So it's totally normal to make these mistakes. I think this is kind of human. We need to have these two different recursive calculation methods to get to what we need. So now we have two
Imagine explaining this to someone who's never played Satisfactory.
Yeah, Satisfactory is a very complicated world, and now we're doing math on a very complicated world with big fractions. We've come a long way in a certain way. This is a whole new world, it feels like. So we have nearly the identical left and right. We'll split to the right only 1/2 because it's not greater than double the smaller value. And you know what? We could divide this 5 million by 2 because 5 million is 5,000,000, and half of 5 million is 2,500,000. We could divide this by 2 without changing the denominator, but then we're going to be working with even more values in our math. So we have like choices here. We have choices with these fractions. We're kind of batching up a bunch of calculations for the calculator to compute in the end, or I guess we could manually compute it, but we're mostly just trying to batch up all of these computations so we don't have to do a bunch of math, because multiplying by 2 and 3 is kind of easy, and some of these subtractions are kind of easy, but we still want to reduce the digits that we're working with. So I'm going to pretend that this 5 million is not divisible by 2. I have to multiply the numerators and denominators by 2, and that's kind of a smart choice, an intuition or something. So 10 million over what is this? 54 million. 27 times 2 is 7 times 2. 14. 2 times 2 is 4. Carry the 1 is 54. It's 54 million. So we'll split the 54 million 1/2 to the right, 1/2 to the next level. The next layer will have an input of 5 million over 54 million. Let's compute this left side that we aren't splitting to first. So it'll be over 54 million. We don't have to add or subtract to it this time. We're just getting the denominators to match. So let's multiply this one by 2 to get it to match this denominator here. It'll be 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1 is 17. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1 is 17. 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we can compute the right side by simply subtracting the left from the input. Since we know that there's a bunch of zeros in this number, we just need these to end up being all zeros. So we know that this needs to add up to 10. 6 to add up to 10 is 4. Then the rest need to add up to 9, the rest of these digits. So 7 to add up to 9 is 2. 7 to add up to 9 is 2. 5 to add up to 9 is 4. 8 to add up to 9 is 1. 2 to add up to 9 is 7. Then we have an additional million, so that will be like the left side is 5 million. So we don't have any millions on this side. Now let's compute it the other way where we do the subtraction for this redundant method for safety. So we multiply the denominator by 2 to match this one. Then we'll
Draw the sacred arrows. 2 left, 1 right.
2 left, 1 right. That's a reference to the end. This commenter would like to have the joy of finding the final answer. Will it go left or will it go right? We still don't know. What layer are we on? So we've done 2/3 to the right, 2/3 to the right, 1/2 to the right, 2/3 to the left, 1/2 to the left, 2/3 to the right, 1/2 to the left. That is 7 layers. We're just about to finish up on the 7th layer. I've already done all of this math, and I know we're going to go up to layer 11 to get less than 1 error every 1000 minutes. So let's multiply this numerator by 2 so that we can have a matching denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1 is 11, 2 times 8 is 16, carry the 1 is 17. 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. All mine is 5 million, and we get this exact same value as we had before. So we have a bit more confidence that we did our math correctly. Now we have a left side that is much greater than the right side, so we will split 2/3 to the left because it's greater than double the right. So to split this by 3, we'll multiply all numerators and denominators by 3. 5 times 3 is 15 million for the numerator. 54 million times 3 is 4 times 3, that's 12. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1 is 16. 162 million. We're splitting 2/3 to the left, 1/3 above. The next input will be 5 million, that's 1/3 of 15, over 162 million. Let's start with the side we aren't splitting to. We'll multiply the numerator and denominator by 3. The denominator will simply match. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 6, carry the 1 is 7. 4 times 2 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 3. Carry the 1 is 4. 4 times 7 is 14. So 1 million and some more. So then to get this left side, we know that the input is equal to the left plus the right. So the left will be the input minus the right. So we know we have a lot of zeros, 5 million. So the first digit, all of these digits need to add up to 0. So we'll start with the ones digit. It needs to add up to 10, and then the rest need to add up to 9. 2 to add up to 10 is 8, 7 to add up to 9 is 2, 6 to add up to 9 is 3, 2 to add up to 9 is 7, 4 to add up to 9 is 5, 4 to add up to 9 is 5, and now we have an additional million from these two values, so that's 2 million. 5 minus 2 million is 3 million. We expect 3 million and these other numbers to be the next number after we've subtracted the 10 million over 162 million supplied to the left. So now let's get the denominator to match up, so we can subtract 10 million. The denominator will be 162
Math
million.
stream, we love to see it.
So to get this numerator to be over 62, we'll multiply it by 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 1 is 22. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 2 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 2 is 17. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 1 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6, carry the 2 is 8. And then 4 times 3 is 12. 12 million minus 10 million. I only got, did I do this wrong? I only got 2 million here, and this was 8 million. So we did this calculation 2 different ways, so we have some redundancy. It looks like we've got the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s all correct, but then the remaining digits differ. What went wrong? 2 times 3 is 6, and we had to carry the 2 is 8. This looks correct. 7 times 3. I did 7 times 2 here. This is where I went wrong. This is 7 times 2, but it needed to be 7 times 3, which is 21. 2,142,000. Was there any carry? No. To get this to add up to 9 is 8. So that makes this value correct. So we had, okay, so this will be 8. And then we have 1 million from all of these values under the 1 million. So that's like 3 million. 5 million minus 3 million is 2 million. So now I see the same value here. We have our redundancy both agreeing. Now we can split the input. Next layer. Let's split the input to the larger of the left and right. The left is larger, but it's not larger than double the right. So let's only split 1/2. Again, we could divide 5 million in 2, but I would rather just multiply all numerators and denominators. So 5 times 2 is 10 million over 162 times 2 is 2 times 2, that's 4. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2, carry the 1 is 3. 324 million, and half is going to the left. The next layer will get a 5 million by 324 million belt.
How is this both beautiful and terrifying?
I think the terrifying part is the mistakes I might make, and oftentimes do. I have to really backtrack, and I almost start to fear will I not be able to find the answer? That's the terrifying part. The beautiful part is the satisfactory part right here. This is the beautiful part, what the math really means. Okay, so let's split this layer by 2 to the left. We'll start with the side that isn't splitting. We'll get the denominator to match. We have to multiply by 2 on this layer. So 162 is half of 324. So this one will have to also be multiplied. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1 is 13. 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. It's going to be about 4 million. I'm going to move this number off to the side a little bit so you can tell it's a different number. And so to get the left side from the right side, we know the input equals the left plus the right. So the left will be the input minus the right. So it's going to be the same denominator, 324. We have a bunch of zeros, so the first digit will have to add up to 10. 4 to add up to 10 is 6. And then the rest of the digits will have to add up to 9. 4 to add up to 9 is 5. 3 to add up to 9 is 6. 5 to add up to 9 is 4. 8 to add up to 9 is 1. 2 to add up to 9 is 7. And then that will all add up to 1 million. 1 million plus 4 million is 5 million, so there will be no millions in this number. Now to do the math using the negation, we have to make the denominator match, so that's times 2 the numerator and denominator. So 324 million will be the denominator to match. And once we get this matching fraction, we'll subtract 5 million from it, half of 10 million. So to multiply this number by 2, 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times 2 is 14. 5 times 2 is 10. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1 is 17. 2 times 2 is 4, carry the 1 is 5, but it's minus 5 million, so we can forget that. 7, 1, 4, 6, 5, 6. This layer was calculated correctly both ways. Next layer, the right side is larger than the left, so we'll split to the right. It's also larger than double the left, so we'll split 2/3 to the right. We'll have to multiply all numerators and denominators by 3 to make this math a bit easier. So 15 million over 3 times 324. 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6, carry the 1 is 7. 3 times 3 is 9.
Paint is the whiteboard of champions.
Thanks for saying. So 15 million over 972 million, and we'll be splitting 2/3 to the right. And the next layer will have that remaining 5 million over 972 million. Let's start with the side that we aren't splitting, the left side, and we have to multiply that numerator and denominator by 3 to match, but the value will not change since we're not splitting to that side. So the denominator will simply be 972 million. We'll copy that value over, and this value multiplied by 3 is 6 times 3, that's 18. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1 is 16. 6 times 3 is 18, carry the 1 is 19. 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1 is 13. 1 times 3 is 3, carry the 1 is 4. 7 times 3 is 21. So the left side is 2 million. Now to get the right side using a subtraction, input equals left plus right. So right equals input minus left. So we have a bunch of zeros in here, so we know that all of these must add up to 0. The ones digit will have to add up to 10. 8 to add up to 10 is 2, and then the rest of the digits have to add up to 9. 6 to add up to 9 is 3. 9 to add up to 9 is 0. 3 to add up to 9 is 6. 4 to add up to 9 is 5. 1 to add up to 9 is 8. Then all of these digits added together will add up to 1 million. So this is kind of like 3 million. 5 million minus 3 million is 2 million. So this is the subtraction way to get here. Now let's do the negation way. We'll have the denominator match. We have to multiply by 3 to get this denominator to match. And so this number times 3 is 4 times 3, that's 12. 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1 is 13. 3 times 3 is 9, carry the 1 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 1 is 25. 2 times 3 is 6, carry the 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. It's 12 million. Mine is 10 million from the 2/3 of this number. So that will be the same value. I can see these digits are all identical. So we know that calculating this 2 different ways matches. So it looks like we have a success. How many layers have we done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, to see if we have enough accuracy, we can say 5 million. Actually, 5 million is the same as 5 divided by 972. That's still not as accurate as I would like. The first decimal place is the tenths. The next is the hundredths. I don't want any thousandths. That way we know that only some amount of 10,000ths will be the incorrect value per minute. Now let's split this. Looks like we only have to split it one more time. Let's split it to the larger of the left and right as we always do. These two values are nearly the same, so we will only split 1/2. The larger value is not greater than double the less. Did he just square a clock rate? No, I did not square it. That was a completely confused comment. My sincerest condolences go to that commenter. They are completely flabbergasted. I hope that is completely sarcastic. I'm sure it is. Okay, so the greater of the left and the right is not greater than double the lower value, so we'll split 1/2 to the right. Again, 5 million is divisible by 2, but we don't want to do that because then we'll have more math to do. Actually, you know what? I think this might be the last layer, so let's go ahead and just divide this by 2. The next layer will be 2,500,000 over the same denominator, 972 million, and that's how much we'll be subtracting from this value. So 2 million minus 2 million is gonna be no millions. Then 800,000 minus 500,000 will be 300,000, and then the rest of the numbers remain the same. So it was like this number minus 2.5 million. And what about this one? This one stays the same, and it stays with the same denominator. And these two numbers, do they add up to 2.5 million? 8 plus 2 is 10. 3 plus 6 is 9. Good. 9, there's the 9. 3 plus 6 is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. 1 plus 3 is, oh yeah, we're up to this 500,000. So 100,000 plus 300,000 is 400,000. And then all of these other values add up to one more 100,000. So this is good. Now is this enough? 2,500,000 divided by 972,000,000. Was that one too many zeros? Yeah, here we go. 972 million. Actually, maybe we need to do one more division. Let's see what we have here. So we're gonna do 2/3 to the left. Okay, let's just go ahead with this. Multiply this by 2, do this. Maybe this is faster. We'll see. It's really after like this number here starts getting more and more digits that this gets complicated. So we have to split this 22.5 million over 972 million input to the larger of the left and the right. The left is larger. The left is larger, so we'll split at least half, but it's actually larger than 2 times the lesser value, so we'll split 2/3. 2/3 of this value, we'll have to multiply all numerators and denominators by 3. So 2.5 million times 3 is 7.5 million, all over 972 million. 972 times 3 is 2 times 3, that's 6.
This isn't math, it's factory calligraphy.
7 times 3 is 21. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2 is 29 billion. 9, 18, 27. Carry the 2. Yes. Okay, so we're going to be splitting 2/3 to the left, and the remaining input will be 1/3 of 75. Will be 1/3 of 7.5 million. That's 2.5 million. And let's start with the side we aren't splitting by. We'll multiply the numerator and denominator by 3 so that they match. The denominator will match, so we'll just copy it. The numerator is this number here times 3, that's 2 times 3, that's 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 0 times 3 is 0. 6 times 3 is 18. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1 is 16. 3 times 3 is 9. Carry the 1 is 10. Now let's do the negation way to get the left. The input minus the right is equal to the left. So we have a lot of zeros here. So first of all, actually before that, let's use a denominator that matches. So we have these zeros, so we know the first digit must add up to 10. So 6 to add up to 10 is 4. And then the rest of the digits need to add up to 9. 9 to add up to 9 is 0. 0 to add up to 9 is 9. 8 to add up to 9 is 1. 6 to add up to 9 is 3. 0 to add up to 9 is 9. Actually, I think that one we can't do. We have only these ones. So these 5 digits plus these 5 digits adds up to 100,000. So we have kind of 1,100,000. 2.5 million minus 1.1 million is how we can think of this. So that would be 1.4 million. 1.4 million plus 1.1 million will be 2 million, and then the 100,000s will be 400,000 plus 100,000, that's 500,000. Okay, so this looks correct. Now let's see if the other method gives us the same value. The denominator will be multiplied by 3 to match. I'll copy the denominator over. Then we're subtracting 7.5 million from this numerator times 3. That's 8 times 3, 24. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 2 is 20. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2 is 29. 3 times 3 is 9. Carry the 2 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. Did I do that right? I think I made a mistake somewhere here, right? 3 times 3 is 9. This was 29. 3 times 3 is 9. Carry the 2 is 11. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1 is 13. 1 times 3 is 3. Carry the 1 is 4.
This is like watching a wizard prep a ritual.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is like math magic. 2 million times 3 is 6 million. Minus this 7.5 million. How can we do this? The reason why we can do this is because we're not subtracting 7.5 million. We're subtracting simply 5 million. That's 2/3. We aren't subtracting all of this. We're subtracting 2/3 of this. That's 5 million. So 6 million minus 5 million is 1 million. And then the rest of these digits are all the same. Looks like we did our math. We checked it 2 different ways. So let's see what our error is. 2.5 million divided by 2,916 million. I kind of don't like this scientific notation. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just am not used to it, I think. So I don't always get I don't have the same intuition. I know what it is, but we basically it says E minus 4. So we move this minus 4 times, but for whatever reason, I just need to see that. So it's I'll use my browser. Hopefully my browser will get the right value. It's 291.6 million. 291.6 million. 123, 123. So we have 8 10,000ths of an error every minute. So that's not bad. That's acceptable. So what's our game plan? We can look at our game plan. How many layers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it was 11 layers. I must have counted the number of layers wrong a little while ago. So 11 layers, and let's also copy out what the exact game plan is, simply without all of these numbers. I'm just going to draw some boxes. I'll open up a new paint and draw some boxes to represent the game plan. 2/3 right, 2/3 right again, then a half to the right, 2/3 left, half left, 2/3 right, half to the right, then 2/3 to the left, half to the left.
This is what peak performance looks like, and it's labeled L and R dot.
And finally, 2/3 to the right. Oh yeah, and also on top of that, the last layer goes to the larger of the two. So this last layer will go to the left. So it's actually all to the left. Is that right? It seems like it should go to the right then. Maybe, okay, I think I'm gonna try that. I'll send the rest to the opposite direction. Okay, so this is why we have to calculate the whole thing out, because sometimes, even if we see a pattern like this, 2/3 to the right, 1/2 to the right, 2/3 to the left, 1/2 to the left, and then it repeats, 2/3 to the right, 1/2 to the right, 2/3 to the left, 1/2 to the left. It may change later on depending on what numbers you're working with, because these last two layers were 2/3 right and then 2/3 left. It's kind of like dividing numbers and you end up with a decimal, and then sometimes there's like numbers that repeat. Like you could think of this as like a 2-1-2-1 or 4-3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, and it loops like that. But other times it's like a number like pi, where sometimes in the number there's like lots of repetition, but then later on there isn't. So if you start to see the numbers in the math you're doing looping around, then you know for sure you have a loop. Otherwise, it might be worthwhile to keep calculating it out. I'm just going to save this as, what do we want to call this? This will be a splitter tower, and it's going to be 62-8 compact coal. Then I'm going to save this one, and I'll save this as splitter tower 62-8 compact coal, but this one will be the design. And actually I have a thing set up where I can keep this, actually I'll open it up as an image rather than in Paint. This extra space is not needed. I'll save that, and then I'll open this up. If you install Power Toys on Windows, I have to hit Control Windows T with this window selected, and now if I do other stuff, this window will stay on top. This is my design, so that's very useful. I'm gonna keep this for my design while I build, but that's once I get there. So Control Windows T to remove it as well. Note, this splitter diagram is missing one layer. I forgot to draw a box around layer 11 and missed the arrows showing that it splits half to the right. So this diagram incorrectly shows an 11-layer splitter tower, but it actually needs 12 layers. I'll follow through with the mistake for now and correct it at the end of the in-game demonstration. The tower we computed starts with 2/3 split to the right and then loops through 4 splitter patterns. 2/3 to the right, half to the right, 2/3 to the left, half to the left. That loop continues 2/3 to the right, half right, 2/3 left, half left. For as far as we've calculated, so far I haven't seen any numbers repeat, so it's possible the pattern might shift later on. But for now, the design works, and I do fix the missing layer once we're back in game. Okay, something like that. Okay, and now let's open up the game and get going. Alright, splitter nerds, BanterSync just went vertical. The tower is now 11 layers tall. This is the input, where it will receive 60 compacted coal per minute, and then this is the output on the left that outputs the remainder compacted coal, and this right belt outputs the exact amount of compacted coal needed for 8 coal power generators. The tower is now 11 layers tall, which is 4 layers taller than the blueprint designer's patience. So what do? We flip it to the reverse side. On the front side, it's straightforward. The left and right mergers feed downward to the outputs like a polite waterfall of math. But on the back side, Oh, it gets poetic. The splitters feed downward, but the mergers feed upward, and then across into the original tower and down again. It's kind of a logistical loop-de-loop, but trust me, it's simpler than it sounds. Once the first layer on the back is locked in, then you can start building splitters downward. Now here's the tricky bit. I had to rotate a splitter in the middle, even though I wanted to split half of that splitter to the merger on that side. This lift is in the path of the splitter, but we can usually rotate these splitters in such a way that it works out. This layer almost looks like a 2/3 splitting layer because of this lift, but it's still just half. It's not doing more, it's just loopier. Another tip, if you're setting up long lifts like this one, make sure to focus on these arrows and make sure the arrows here line up with the arrows there, rather than focusing on maybe how many bars there are here. That's your best friend for getting vertical alignment clean without random wonky kinks. And as always, that last belt that's left over from the other split goes to the remaining merger that hasn't been fed yet. Bantersync law. Alright, so here's where we need to fix that mistake. This splitter splits 2/3 to the left when it should split 1/2 to the right, and then the next layer should split 2/3 to the left. When we were doing the math in Paint, I forgot to draw a box around what should have been splitter layer 11. This is splitter layer 12. So what I need to do now is to insert that half to the right splitter layer and then make this layer again underneath it. So I'll just delete these and all of this merger, but not the blueprint designer. And then I will build down from this merger an output on the outer side here. This will feed up to the merger above it with a lift here. I'll delete that in between merger, add the belt, and now this is splitting half to the right, and then it'll split down to the next and final splitter layer right here. So we need to make sure that the input is on an output from this splitter layer above it. There's the lift down, so now this is splitting half to this merger here and half to the final splitter layer. So now this splitter needs to split 2/3 to the left like it did before, and then the remaining belt into this merger here. Or we could even make another merger below it. So let's start with the 2/3 to the left. I'll build some mergers off of this one below to get to the same height. And I'll make sure the output to this merger is going to a direction that the merger above can receive from, so right here. And then I'll build a lift up to the higher up merger and delete all of these in between. Hold Control to select all of these, then hold left click, and now they're all deleted in one delete. Now I'll add those 2/3 to the left, and to get this final belt to this merger, and this is kind of like the error, I'll make a lift. And let's see if this fits. Yes, this fits just fine. So now it is complete. Now that those two layers are in, the tower's back to what math intended. 12 layers total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now we have the accuracy we calculated from the start. This will make less than one error every 1,000 minutes. So 100,000 minutes before it makes a full stack of errors. The overflow is going to this side, so the coal generators should be oversupplied by that error amount to make sure the power is going. Alright, that's gonna wrap it up for today's vertical fever dream. We built the splitter tower, all 11 layers of it, and even flipped it to the back like some kind of logistics origami. Honestly, it's not just a structure anymore, it's a belief system. We also wrangled all the sulfur and coal onto the site, so the resources are here, the tower is humming, and the lifts are surprisingly cooperative. But, and this is the cliffhanger, we haven't actually built any coal power generators yet. That's right, all this prep and the actual power part is still on deck. So next time, we go full steam ahead into coal power phase, which hopefully involves more efficiency and less splitters yelling at me spiritually. Thanks for watching, and remember, when in doubt, split it, merge it, then loop it backwards and call it art.